everybody, to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Berenice.
And I'm Ella. Welcome back. It's a beautiful day. Berenice, what's up? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm like getting back to myself for like the third time this month. You know what I mean? Like it just takes like a few tries. So what had happened was like I kind of like realized I was kind of spiraling a little bit over the summer because I didn't have a routine, and I cannot function without a routine. I don't like it. My mental illness is just off the fucking whackers. All right, so essentially it's just taken me a really long time to gather myself, but I think things are changing. Like I finally came to like the moment of like, okay, let's get it together. So I'm feeling really good today. I went to a silks class. That
Fun.
was, yeah, I have not moved my body in literally 3 months. Like I stopped going to the gym. I stopped being a human being. So today was so rough, and it was such a reality check of like, wow, girl, you have no strength anywhere. Humbling. But it was really fun, and it's right near my house, so it's like the perfect setup, like chilly weather situation.
Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
love it. Are you gonna be back in like 3 weeks? You're gonna be back into the gym like twice a day.
Yes. That's the goal here. We're done with the hee ha ha. Summer's been fun, but it's over. It's over. How are you?
Oh my gosh, you guys, I have a really fun update, a really fun announcement.
Okay.
I was in my first feature film. I was a featured extra on
Mm-hmm.
a feature film, babes.
Okay.
So I already have add actress to the resume, but you're gonna hear more and more about acting gigs,
I'm gonna
baby.
need a little background. How did you land this gig? Who stars in it? Like, what's it about?
You know. So I would like to thank Thai Angle Productions.
I signed an NDA, can't say much.
Yeah, let's just say I signed an NDA. No, but it is like a really cool. It's like a comedy. I think it's like a comedy drama. Um, I'll be honest. I
Okay.
didn't read the whole script. Okay, I got
Oh.
I got the scene I was in. I didn't get the
Okay.
whole thing. Okay.
Okay.
Vibes were great on set. I got reached out to because someone's a stan. We met through stand up comedy. They were in the audience, and I like roasted them a little bit for being a Leo, if I like recall, and that was
And they like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
They like that.
Yes, no, it was, and then yeah, so it became mutuals with their best friend, and then he actually had me in a commercial like a year ago when I did that commercial, same production company. So yeah, super dope person, and people in general, and so yeah, I got to be on set. It was like hee hee ha ha. It was a very fun side quest. This is like my new thing. I've decided, okay, for a little bit.
I love this. I'm with it. I'm with you. Make your money, be a star, then, bring me on. I'm ready for my 5 minutes.
Okay, no, everything will lead to everything else, okay?
100%. I've been telling Ella to move to New York probably for the past since I thought about moving here. I was like, don't make me do this
I know,
alone.
and I get the occasional like late night text from Verity say, "I think you should move," and you know what? I probably will eventually, but we're taking it one roll at a time, one day at a time, baby. But
Yeah.
it was a nice little creative buzz. It got my creative juices flowing.
Yes.
It's just cool being because I write secretly. I don't write secretly. I just haven't done anything with it yet. Like it's just
She's been telling the podcast about it for about like 3+ years, actually, and we are still yet to get a sample of the work. Where is
yes.
it?
You know what, babes? Give me by 1 year time. Well, this is actually what I was thinking because like a lot of it again, like we talked about this like maybe a while ago about like how you need to just like connect with people because it like can lead to other things, and people are
Yes.
not opposed to sharing knowledge. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this production company is doing like full-blown feature films that they wrote, but they started off doing like sketches and commercial work and what have you, what have you, what have you. And so like having these resources is really amazing because it's thinking, okay, yes, like I can produce this short. I don't know how to do it right this second, but there is other people who actually would know how to do this. And so like I'm trying to work on like networking and making it so making sure, and I'm being like the best version of myself, which is really weird. I think networking when you actually give a fuck is a lot different than networking when you fucking don't. So,
With
like,
intent, anything matters, like,
yeah.
yeah. No,
So it's
I'm
like
I'm with you.
at the office, I'm not like very much inclined to like network just because I don't love it. But when I'm like, okay, wait, actually, I actually want to hear what you're doing when you're like on set, and like, let me actually talk to me more about this alien movie you're doing next week. It's like actually conversations I want to be having. So it was like it was like I've been looking at a compass and it finally was pointing due north. You know what I'm saying?
I think I'm kind of with you on that one. Having no direction is not good for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like thank God I've been doing like a Pilates side quest, which I've been actually having a really great time doing. Like for 30 seconds, I thought I was like, I'm gonna become a Pilates instructor. And so I was diving deep into Pilates. And thank God that's like a healthy outlet. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think Pilates, it might not be my calling per se. So, we're gonna come back right round, okay?
I understand.
Yep.
What any of your endeavors, I'm with it 100%. I'm a stand for whatever it is that you choose, and I know you're gonna kill it. I think it's cool that you said that because I've also been on my little like out outsourcing, creating networking, and just like new friendships. Because I do really enjoy music, and I've really been hanging out with a lot of people who enjoy music and mix music, and I've been getting into that. Do I feel like that is my lifelong calling? Probably not. I do like to know how to mix, and it feels nice, but I am also very creative and I really like self expression. So I actually ended up like connecting with one girl and we went to a play. And I want to shout it out. It's not in production anymore, but I'm sure they'll be back because they did it last year and they said they might do it again. But it's called Earth to Venus. And it was like a really minimal production that was almost like interactive. Like it was a room maybe had like 30 chairs. Um, and it was just a really cool concept. It was basically like a play about a like mental health facility, and there's like a whole story that kind of like a documentary that's like taking place in it. And it was just like a very talented group of actors that was just such a minimal production, but you were like so captivated by it. It was very, very inspiring. So look at us.
Look at us! Such worldly girlies. It's interesting because it's like, people are like, "Oh, do you do acting a lot?" And I'm like, "No, babes, this is my side quest." And then they're like, "You need to get an agent." And I was like, "I probably should." Yeah, you're right, actually. So, I'm like, "Well, what steps are that?" So it's like just adding more things to the to-do list. We love that for me. But it
We
was a
do
good
love
time.
that for you.
It was a good time.
100%. Last time I was home, Ella was like, I think I'm a little bored. Like, should I start hanging out with people again? And I'm like, no, no, don't do that. Like, pick up another hobby.
Well, honestly, every time I think about like I need to make new friends, I'm like I literally don't know when I would slot in being a great friend to new people because I feel like to be like you can't just like have a friend, you have to be a friend. And as much as I like really want like oh, I wish I had like 10,000 girlfriends or whatever. Sometimes I'm like, okay, but I don't have like the capacity to be a great friend to 10,000 people. 'Tis life, baby.
That does happen. Sometimes you get very captivated by friendships and you spend a lot of time in them. And that's what's been happening to me. I'm like, oh, I have so many friends, and then I'm like, oh, so many friends. You know what I mean? It's nice to find a balance though, and people understand.
Yeah.
Mostly, if you're like a good person and you can't like divest a lot of time, but you have good intentions, they'll understand that you're a busy bee. You gotta catch ya.
You gotta catch ya, baby. Okay, so this is a very fun episode. Very
Yeah,
fun.
it was something we're very passionate about.
Very passionate about. So this is like a homage to Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is like a comedy. But there is a scene, and it's called like Pepe Sylvia. And even if you're not familiar with Always Sunny, I'm sure you're familiar with the meme of like crazy, like I don't even like network brain map
It's like
building
conspiracy
connect.
board.
Yeah, conspiracy
Um,
board.
yes. So I have never met like a sane person who like does not drink alcohol that like likes Always Sunny. I feel like that show is for degenerates. therefore we love it, right?
Love it.
We love it. We watched this in college, quote it to this day. Pepe Sylvia is an episode about two of the characters. A D, one of them gets a heart attack, and two of the other characters, they realize they need health insurance. They don't have health insurance, so they need to get jobs. Basically, they go get jobs, and they're just not good at these jobs, and they just get really caught up in this conspiracy in the mailroom because they're mailroom attendants and they need to get mail to people, and they can't find one man named Pepe Sylvia. So he builds this whole conspiracy board because he's like, there's a conspiracy going on in this company. Who's Pepe Sylvia? Nobody knows, right? So it goes in this huge like brain web of days and days, and he's like in this attendant, and no one's getting their mail because for 4 days he's just been like chain smoking cigarettes trying to figure out who is Pepe Sylvia. And with that, here are our conspiracy moments.
Ooh, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so conspiracy moments or like just building mind webs,
yes.
You know, just making these connections.
When you dive into the crazy, we're like, you're just pinning dots to pin dots.
Literally, it's like you got fucking... Like, I swear to God, I still to this day think I would have made an amazing detective because, bitch, I pin, connect, baby.
Yeah, you know, and sometimes the delusions take over and you're bridging, like, big. Like, you know, in courtrooms when they're like, objection, like, that's far off. Like, that's the delusions that we go as far on for this segment, okay? You know, for me, I just don't believe that anything is like a coincidence. Like I will jump from one to the other. Call me a Scorpio. I'm just very intuitive where I just know. Like, and if I can't figure it out, my brain just goes on OT and it will start connecting dots maybe when there isn't dots to connect. But I'm not afraid to admit this one. This was been more recent. I was seeing a man, right? Like, she's nuts. And I've always said that if you lie to me, balls to the wall, I'm just going full crazy, full investigator, because I just know that you're lying. I'm just that intuitive of a person. I'm a witch. I don't know. Call it what you want. So essentially, I was supposed to hang out with this man, and we had been going through some rocky situations, but it was his idea to hang out, okay? Then comes the time we're supposed to hang out, no phone call, no nothing. I thought I should check in. You know, I was like, yo, you good? And this man starts rambling about how he is getting his cousin is pregnant and he was the only one home and needed to get her to the hospital to, I guess, deliver this baby, right? And I was like, okay, cool, like, whatever. Like, you know, we can just hang out some other time, just let me know. And then goes and tells me, like, a detail of events the entire day, right? So it's not like one lie done. Like, oh, like she had the baby at this time and now I'm like driving people places, like a rundown of this day. So then I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And he was like, but I can see you tomorrow. So the next day, 24 hours later, this man pops up and, you know, he's talking about how his cousin is already like out and about. And I was like, she birthed a whole kid 24 hours ago and she's out on those streets? Bullshit, right? So I play along because whatever, you want to lie to me, let's see who can play stupid better. So I was like, oh my god, can I see pictures of the baby? Like, I love babies, which I do love babies, and the thing is, I do ask for photos. Like, this is a thing I do, like, even at work, I'm always like, can I see your kids? So he shows me her Instagram, and like, I don't know, in boy brain, like, why'd you be so stupid to like not put together dots that like maybe the time of the photo should match with the time frame I told her. But God bless moms and their little popsicle sticks with the little dates and the little outfits they wear and the little 1 day old on this date, because the math was not mathing. Like, I got out my calendar to see, like, no, today, that date, does it match the date? And then I was like, why are you lying to me? And then is that such an absurd lie? He doubled down, he tripled down. Later, my brain was just working OT because I was just like, why? Like, here's the thing. I let it go because I knew I would come to the information at one point and another, right? That's the whole thing about this Pepe Sylvia thing. I'm going to find out. I'm going to connect the dots. My brain is going to do it for me. I won't be able to sleep without it. So, whatever. Weeks go by. This man's like on and off communication. I just come to the point where I was just like, I just got to know why he's lying. And two, I feel like I need to find proof so he can't try to lie out of it, right? So I go on Facebook and I find this whole man's family tree. Like, I'm telling you, you can find anything on the internet if you just try hard enough. And God bless him being a junior. So he, you know, who has his name? His daddy. And who has his daddy's name? His daddy. So I found his grandpa, then I found his other grandpa's son, who turns out is the dad of the cousin of his cousin. And you know who loves babies? Grandpas do. There was so many pictures. So, and when I tell you, like, I could not ask the universe for evidence as ridiculous as it was. This was a picture of this baby girl straight out of the womb, like umbilical cord, like blue out of her belly, and in the background, the monitor with the end time.
Yep.
Pepe Sylvia. I found Pepe Sylvia, okay? Yeah, so that's how deep I will go to prove my intuition is correct. Because sometimes the math has got a math, okay?
Babes, those timelines, people fuck up with their timelines, and it's like, they're like, oh my god, in the age of social media, babes, you've got to get your timelines together.
Yeah, I would not recommend lying anymore. Like, to be honest, I don't recommend lying. I just feel like there's too much proof anywhere. Like, things can just be proven. You know what I mean? Like, and even like when I confronted this man, I was like, can you prove where you were? Because like, even what you're saying now, there's some record of something. Even if you take a photo, it usually saves the location the photo was taken. So like, you know, like,
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy how much information is out there when you have a phone. So I would just probably like be smart.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've caught people up so many times, but like the one time with like technology where someone I was like, you don't know how technology works is like,
yeah.
this person, I like figured this out kind of like slowly after, but like basically this person unfriended me on Snapchat. But when you do that, because he had a public profile, I could still see his stories, right?
Yeah.
So on Valentine's Day, he went to Thailand with this girl. And last time we had spoken and hooked up had been like January 11th, okay? And so I was like, that's a quick
Suspicious.
I was like, that is a really quick time to meet a girl and take her to fucking Thailand for Valentine's Day. And I feel like when like a Pepe Sylvia moment happens for me, it's like that's so Raven, but instead of seeing in the future, I like go into a wormhole and see into the past. And I just remember having this conversation with this guy, and it just like fucking tickled me when I thought back to it because I was like, oh, I don't know why the fuck I didn't read that as I have a girlfriend, right? Because he was trying to be really slick, right? Because he was like, yeah, you know, you don't want to be tied down by me. You don't want to date me. Like,
he was
I live in a whole different. He's like, I live in a whole different state. Like, you know, like we don't like you don't actually want to like be with me. That's crazy. And I was like, well, no, I don't want to like be with you, but like I don't want to not be with you. You know, like whatever. I mean, I was just, you know, I was like, whatever. And he was like, nah. He was like, you need to be free, man. You need to like do you. Like you're in like your do you era, you know? And I was like, okay, word, like whatever. And I thought it was more like he didn't want to date me, but then I was like, oh no, like this I was like, oh, that's funny because now all of that makes sense. Like he wasn't being nice. He was kind of being like a nice asshole, which is saying I'm not available because I have a fucking girlfriend in where I'm from.
Yeah, they'll say the darnest things, honestly.
Yeah.
I've gotten in another life after like I made out with someone and then they like disappear and like like remove me off their social media after that day, I'm like, oh, he's married. Like, that's somebody else's man. My bad. My bad. 100%. They will say the darndest things other than I have a girlfriend. So
I know, literally.
Good God. Yeah, it's trippy when that happens, you know. Um, but again, nothing is a coincidence. I would say sometimes I see this uh, with friendships too. There's a lot of, oh, I'm gonna, sometimes when I make plans with people and I'm not that close to them and they want to go out or something, and they like unshare their location or do like weird stuff, and I'm like, you can just say you want to do something else. And honestly, I don't even work OT on those because those are easy. Like, people don't understand that you have mutual friends, right? You're just on your friend's story. Silly. Why are you being silly?
People do the silliest things in order to avoid like conflict. I remember this one time with my girlfriend. I just was like, "Hey girl, I have like a little Pepe Sylvia inclination of something that's going on, and I would just rather hear it from you than like find out A that you're lying to me right now, or B like down the line hearing someone else tell me. Like I just rather you just tell me right now and I'm giving you an out." And they're like, "No, no, 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 like, I would never do that to you, da, 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 da," and I was like, "Okay, word." Not the next day did they get, like, caught up, and I was like, "We talked about this yesterday, that we didn't need a lie, that we just, like, needed to be real," and then you, like I even gave you the fucking out, dude, but I just had a
Yeah.
fucking weird feeling about that one because I just had, like it's just, like
You always
it's like
know, like,
I think it's like a trauma thing too, where it's just like you read like I might sometimes read too much into what people are like their body language or whatever, but I think
I don't
people
think that's
sometimes leave things
trauma.
I don't know. Yeah, people just leave things
Yeah.
unsaid and you can just like read it in their body.
When people move with weird intentions, you can always pick it up because mostly if they switch up, like if you've had a friendship with somebody and they've always moved with like pure intentions around you, the second it switches, you will sense the vibe change. Like, it's like, why are you lying? Like, why are you acting like that? You know what I mean? Like, even if there
Yeah.
isn't like I don't think that's a trauma response. I just think you're like observant.
Yeah,
People,
it's just
yeah, like, you know
they
what
just
I
tell on
mean?
themselves.
They do. A lot of people don't know how to listen. Um, they actually like to fill rooms, with void, with whatever it is. So when you really, like, I would say Ella and I are both very observant people because we would go into rooms and both pick up vibes. And sometimes we wouldn't like people. We're like, why don't we like that person? And I was actually just talking about this to one of my friends because I've been accused of not liking people because like they like the man I like. And I'm like, no, it's not that. Like, I swear to God, I've had those situations before. And sometimes I really like the girls where I'm like, have him.
Yeah,
That's for
totally.
you, baby girl. If you want him, get him. But no, there's some people where I'm like, I can't put my finger on it. But I honestly think, and I was talking to one of my friends about this, I'm like, do you think she's plotting for your downfall? Like, she's hoping for your downfall. Like, once you're out of the picture, she'd slide in. I think people can pick up on that. She's not wishing you the best.
I know, and like honestly, say a lot of things. You can call me a lot of things. You can say a lot of things about me. I'm literally not gonna lust over someone else's man purely for the fact that like I don't want to like put the evil eye on a girl like that, and wish for her relationship to be the downfall. It's like I rather just find one. There's literally billions of people in the universe. I don't even believe in like strong enough vibes just that I couldn't just find somebody else.
I played the disappearing game. If I have a crush on your man, I'm staying the hell away from you and your man because you do not deserve that energy from me. I cannot be your friend. I will not pretend to be your friend. I won't.
I love it.
Like, I've had that with girls where they've been very nice to me, and I was like, I cannot be your friend because I have a crush on your boyfriend, and I will not be fake to you about it. So I'm just gonna go over there, far away from you and your energy. And I do this too with people who I have mixed feelings about and they're on my social media. And instead of like accounting, like, I don't know, and like randomly getting their stuff up and me being like unwanting sending bad energy or weird energy or unresolved, I just rather like remove you. Like,
Oh
no
my god,
hate.
yes.
But
I
like,
l- I honestly sometimes I'm like I literally don't want to fuck up your algorithm by not liking this, but I literally don't like this. So
I just
I'm
don't want to be
low.
a hater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm low. I don't do this with people I know, but like definitely people actually that I won't even lie. I do. Okay?
I do it
Sometimes
to people
I
I
just
know.
block people because I don't want to hate on you, but I just really do not like your content, but I don't want to fucking bring in hateful energy into my life if I don't like
Yeah.
something. And that's why like it drives me not crazy, but like when I see people that get a lot of hate online, I can't imagine like I move so differently than that I just don't know why people do that. Like, I hate this bitch. It's like, okay, well then why
Don't
don't you just
engage.
block her and then you never
Literally.
have to see her again?
Yeah, people miss that mark. I don't know why they get so, you work yourself up for no reason. You're
I
doing
just
it to
couldn't.
yourself.
Exactly. Like I'm like, dude, I mean, and I block. And you know what's funny is when I find out I block people, like because I fucking forget, and then people talk about somebody. I'm like, I've never heard of that person before, and I'm like, oh, I actually have, but I blocked them because I thought they were fucking annoying. Um, and like no hate, but I just did not want to fucking see it. And sometimes the algorithm pushes you towards certain people, probably because one of your friends really likes their content or whatever. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, or you feel the pressure where you're like, I need to follow this person so it's not blah blah blah. Listen, do what you need to do, okay? I do this strictly. I'm an inviting girl. Like if you see me in the wild, in the real life, in the realm, like I'm friendly, I'm hee hee ha ha's. But there's certain things where I'm like, no, including like my birthday's a big one. If I don't like you, if I catch a weird vibe, if I just know you're gonna bring some energy I don't want, I will uninvite you to my birthday. I don't I will make a whole separate group chat tailored for my birthday just because I don't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I think like you can curate your own energy and vibes and the vibes you want to be surrounded by, and you don't need to like add extra people just because you don't want to upset somebody. They'll be okay. They'll get over it.
Holla.
Honestly, I've gained most respect for people who have told me they like are really I'm not gonna hang out with that person, and I'm like, okay, where like does it really bother you that I hang out with them? Like, where the is the root of the issue? And if you can't like necessarily like, oh, you just don't like that person because you don't like that person, there's not like a bigger thing. If they did something to you, I'm Xing that person. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh no, she's just like not my cup of tea, and I'm like, okay, well, okay, we can just be separate friendships.
I will say this. I had so many people. I mean, we'll say this. We fast forwarded. It's been a while since we've been in college, but I find it interesting who isn't friends with who. And I'm like, well, I mean, I could have called that one, but I shut the fuck up because it's really just like it wasn't that big of a deal to me. Because I honestly, I think like I have so many bigger fish to fry that I'm really not like trying to exclude. You know what I'm saying? Like that just I'm like, no, that bitch can hang around. I really don't give a fuck because guess what? I'm mentally unstable, and that's what I'm really focusing on. You know what I'm saying? Like if that person is
Yeah.
not directly hurting me, I literally don't give a fuck what the fuck
Whatever.
ever. But then but it's like but to be frank, it's like I did get some weird energy off her because A, B, and C, because remember that weird conversation we once had because people be showing themselves when they're drunk and sometimes I'm like, "Oh my god, you must not say this shit sober because you know it sounds fucking stupid or fucked up." You know?
Yeah.
There's a reason you don't say this shit when you're sober.
Yeah. No, I agree with
Pepe
you.
Sylvia, you figure out some people are you're like, I think you're conservative. It's like, why have you been keeping it a secret, girl?
I think the thing with Pepe Sylvia is like you will always get other parts of the story later. It might not be like you sit and figure it all out. It might be like you get a little bit of information here, yeah, a little bit of information there, and then one day you're just like, oh my god, I just put that together. I've had those moments. I had those
hmm
interactions. Sometimes I honestly feel like sometimes the clues are there. It's either you don't want to see it or you need a little bit more info to really put together the full picture. Something that,
There's just sometimes there's one missing puzzle piece,
yeah,
and then you see the whole fucking thing.
it comes out. Just be patient. Honestly, ask the universe for answers. It'll show you. I swear to God, I did that like recently, and I just said gently because sometimes I'd be seeing too much information and I'm like distraught. I was like, let me find out what I need to find out, just gently, please. And it's been gentle, but sometimes it's nice to get the whole story in little bits so you can process each information on their own. And sometimes how I feel about this Peppa Sylvia thing is when I like someone and then I can't necessarily pinpoint why I like this person. And then I have to go back to like my whole childhood trauma trying to figure out who Peppa Sylvia is, but Peppa Sylvia really is like some abandonment issue. My God. I'm like, this man doesn't like me. Why am I stuck on him?
Yeah.
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 Why am I acting like this? Oh, that's right.
Those are my biggest Peppa Sylvia moments as of recent, to like literally rack my brain trying to figure out, rationalize why I act the way I do sometimes.
Honestly, I feel like I'm at the point where I know why I do it, but I still gotta work on keep on doing it. You're like, okay, how do we break out of this? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go too far off the deep end and you have like you're like trying to work on discipline and now you've taken it too far, You're like, Paco told us one time we didn't have enough discipline and I've been holding on to that.
My dad will yell at anybody, okay? It doesn't matter.
He wasn't even talking to me per se, but he was just saying like I think he was talking to you about discipline, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, me too. Like I was like, the shoe fits on me too. I do not have discipline, bro. But now I'm working on it and now I'm going too far. Anyways, all I was gonna say is if you're gonna go Pepe Sylvia, if you're gonna go fucking confront someone about this map you've made, babes, you better have made the right map, okay? Because you out yourself as a crazy person. And I'll tell you when my ex outed themselves. So I got like this text like, hey, did you do ecstasy on the environmental science field trip? And I had already graduated high school. So this was like a year after that trip would have happened. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I literally had no idea what they were talking about. I've never done that drug in my life. So I was literally like, what the fuck? And he sent me a screenshot of my tweet from a year ago, like a gotcha. And it was like, the first tweet was like, I'm so excited for the Wi-Fi field trip. And the second tweet was, I love Etsy. And I literally was like, dude, Etsy is where I buy my handmade goods from crafty bitches on the internet. But that was like
he's illiterate.
No, he thought it was like some street slang because like, you're fucking, if you're degenerate, your mind's in the gutter. And I literally had to tell this motherfucker, that was like, I'm being dead serious. That was like the middle of the end. All right. Where I was already like 1 foot out, but like I was 2 feet out by that point. Cause I was like this dumb motherfucker. And I like literally was like, okay, first of all, you just outed yourself for creeping on my socials.
He was trying to find something to try to flip the script there.
I honestly feel like he was trying to find something because he knew I was on my way out, and so he was trying to find dirt. But like I wasn't squeaky clean, but like pretty much.
It's like there's things he could have found, but he did not find those.
No, there was like nothing. There was nothing. I was a good girl when I was that age, but yeah. So if you're gonna Pepe Sylvia, you better fucking bring real receipts, okay?
This is like when people check phones and get caught up. I've never gotten caught up for checking a phone, but I've only checked a phone once. But maybe I honestly maybe I should have done it again. You know what I mean? Maybe I could have saved me some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't find anything. So then I just felt crazy and I was like, am I projecting? And I was like, okay, I gotta cut this. Sometimes, yeah, Peppa Sylvia, you could be projecting. You could be projecting your insecurities. You gotta see where that's coming from.
Dude, I've never been a phone checker but honestly, I had an experience that was like Pepe Sylvia as well, where same fucking ex, terrible fucking dude, obviously. But like his dumbass logged into his Facebook on my iPad because he lost his fucking phone.
Yeah.
Trying to find his phone, and then guess what? I'm getting fucking messages
Ding, ding,
to
ding.
my iPad. And so, like, I checked that shit, and I was like, that's the closest I've gotten to checking a phone. My whole thing about checking phones is that, like, at that point, I think it's fucking either do some self-work or it's already too late. If you aren't usually a crazy bitch that feels like they need to check phones, then what are they doing that's making you feel unsafe in this relationship?
Period. Couldn't have said it better, because when I did that, I wasn't actually thinking he was talking to anybody else. I think I was looking for a way out. You know what I mean? Because I didn't like the relationship. So, on the dot, on the money.
You know, that's so relatable though, because I feel like sometimes you know, you're like, "Ooh, let me figure something out so I can like get out of this." And have you ever heard of like dudes who are like, "Oh, I had a guy say that like, "Oh, I've only cheated like when I like wanted to like leave the relationship." Have you ever had a guy say that? Like, "Oh, I'm not a cheater, like I only
Yeah.
cheated when I wanted
Yeah.
to leave."
When I knew like we weren't gonna end up together.
And
I've heard that.
I wanted them to break up with me because
Yeah.
like I didn't want to break up with them. I'm like, bro, that is some crazy PEPE SILVIA stuff. Like, oh, if I cheat on them, they'll break up with me, and
And they
then
won't take me back. They shouldn't take me back. It's fucked up, bro. Instead of just being like, I don't want to be with you anymore.
let me give them
Damn.
lasting trauma instead of just stepping the fuck up and telling them I don't want to be in this.
Yeah. Don't take the coward's way out. It's the easier way out, but it's not worth it. In my opinion, it's not worth it to leave someone with that. And I've had other situations where it's like, oh, that tracks. Once I was told after I had already broken up with someone that they like tried to cuddle with one of my friends, and I hadn't necessarily like put that together. I just knew like my relationship with like a specific friend had gotten a little weird, but I didn't know why. And I was like, oh, because she didn't tell me about that. Or maybe was scared to tell me, or I don't know what the reason behind it was, but like, okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
When you
Yep.
confront someone with a lie and they're like, you know what? I don't know. I didn't think about it. You're like, that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, people just do the silliest things, for real, for real. I guess for me to end it at the play that I was at, there was a quote that stuck with me, and basically it's one of the patients. She sees she sees her. This is a reach, but she sees her dead mom, like, and kind of like talks to her dead mom. Okay, but it's like her way of grieving. And at the end of the play, her mom basically just says, like, I don't want to be something that your brain is just trying to figure out. And I think that I held on to that because sometimes I've had situations where I'm like working overtime to try to pin dots together to get to like a solution. When maybe if something is making you work overtime to figure something out, it just is something that you need to let go, right?
I have had to tell myself that I am not anyone's therapist. And so psychoanalyzing why that person hurt me is not my job. That's their therapist's job if they ever seek therapy, baby, which they probably won't.
Yeah. But I'm always down for a good scavenger hunt of clues. Like, if my homegirl hits me up and she's like, my boyfriend's acting sus, I was like, we could probably figure out why in about 10 minutes. Give me some phones. Give me some
Dude,
phones.
I literally, my friend told me something and I was like, I wish you didn't tell me that because I have an inclination to find the answer and I don't think it's what you're going to want. And she's like, no, don't do it. And I was like, okay, I won't, but I could.
Like,
I'm
I
on
have
speed dial.
ADHD. I love hyperfixating. Just give me something. Just give
Literally.
me something. Okay, so with that, thanks so much for listening. Don't lie to us. We'll find out. And as always, please go subscribe. Please tell a friend about the podcast. If you're like, oh my god, these crazy bitches, let me share this with a friend. That's exactly what we want. And then go follow us on social media. We're at Thanks Number 4 Your Concern. I'm at Bernice IDSM.
And I'm at Ella L. Tudor. We will see you next week. Love ya. Bye.